From Studio 3 at Buzz TV, it's The Horse's Mouth with Tom McManus.
All right, welcome into The Horse's Mouth here at Tommy Max, of course, at my bar, and brought to our good friends at Heritage Campo. Y'all know how I feel about talking about football. Well, the coaches are here, so we're going to talk some ball, and this is going to be a great segment. Two friends of mine, and no, they didn't coach me, but they're two of the top coaches that have coached in the National Football League. Let's welcome them in. Coach Dave Campo's here once again. Hey, Coach, how are
Tom,
you?
I'm
and
great.
our guest,
Thank you.
Coach Jerry Sullivan. Hey, Coach.
My pleasure, Tom.
How you guys doing?
Doing great, thank you.
You're looking great. You're still in the game, right? You're not coaching a team, but you're still training. Who are you training? Jefferson up in Minnesota, Coach?
Do him twice a year. Do him in the spring and then do him right before he goes to camp.
Yeah. Have you always been a receiver coach?
Quarterback receiver. I started my career as a quarterback coach,
Okay.
and I just kind of got a little bored with it. I had a guy that I kind of developed that was a. You have to be around a while to know his name. Steve Grogan used to play for New England.
Of course, he won the. He wore the neck
collar.
thing. Yeah.
He came to college as a strong safety.
Really?
And we had a young guy that got hurt, and I started working with him as a quarterback. He played in a power eye offense, and he just sprinted right and sprinted left, and I worked on him, and he got better and better throwing the football, and he was a tough kid.
That's great. Now, did you guys coach together, Coach?
No,
Never
we
coached
coached
together,
against.
but knew each other.
When I was
obviously.
in Dallas, he was at Phoenix, and a number of different places.
Yeah.
He was at Dallas, and I was at San Francisco, I think. Still.
Yeah, that's right. One of the,
So you mentioned Jefferson, Fitzgerald, I would imagine, right? Who are some of the other receivers that notable? I mean, they're all notable, but who would you say that?
Anquan Bolden.
Yeah. Oh man, was he a beast? He goes to the middle like nobody's business.
I had him when he was a rookie at Arizona, and he was a really fun guy to coach. Smart, great football knowledge. I had Herman Moore played for the Lions.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then I had Johnny Morton played for the Lions, and then I had Brandon Lloyd, who
from Illinois.
Yeah, Brandon was a unique guy, and you know, I only had him a year. He was kind of a character, but a good guy to coach.
Yeah, San Fran, right? When you out of San Fran?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to deal with all those guys he's talking about. That was not easy, believe me.
No doubt.
And it was, you know, it was a fun ride coaching.
Yeah.
I was like, and I had Jefferson and Chase when I went back to LSU in 2000. I had Chase in 18 and Jefferson 17 and 18.
So Burrow was the QB?
Yes.
That is awesome.
He was a QB. He had come in from Ohio State in the fall of 18, and he was there 18 and 19.
Nice. Very nice. When you look, and I want to ask for both of you guys, when you look at the game today, and all of us, I'm a defensive guy, and so are you, but from a wide receiver perspective, are they all is it fair? Like, is it good? Is it in a good spot? You know, obviously we got to protect them. I do agree with the defenseless. You can't drill them in the face. I do agree with that. I don't know if I agree with all the you can't. Seems like now you can't even hit anybody in the chest. But how do you feel about it, Coach? You like all the rule changes, or would you one you might not like?
I think, like, from my standpoint, which would be different from his, he's a defensive back coach, I'm a receiver coach. I think it gets kind of handsy sometimes with, you know, guys grabbing and holding. And I think they'll call it sometimes. Sometimes it depends who you get. Sometimes you get the call, sometimes you don't. That bothers me. But as far as the toughness of the game, you know, I think they got to be. I think the league needs to be careful that they don't rule themselves out of a good game and make too many rules that you spend 3 hours watching a football game, and 2 hours the referees are on the headset looking in to see if there's a penalty.
And I agree with that 100%. You know, safety is important.
It is.
There's no question that these guys go through. You did it. I mean, you know what those guys go through, and you know, we had a situation when they took the launch out of football, and Darren Woodson was playing for me in Dallas, and you know, Darren, great young man, great safety. He was complaining, you know, watching the tape. He got a penalty and this and that. He said, I can't play like this. And I said, hey, Darren, come on now. You got two choices. You either don't play or you go by the rule. And it's going to be an offensive rule mostly in the NFL anyway, because what brings the people into the stands? It's really not defense.
Yeah, no,
you know,
right.
the
It's
offensive guys bring them in.
Nobody wants to see 7 to 6.
No,
they really don't.
But
Exactly.
on the other hand, I think you have to look at it. You know, the skill level of defensive backs, the skill level of receivers has really gotten really good, to improve.
No doubt.
And you know, like I always say, you never seen a jackass win the Kentucky Derby. No matter how you can put him in an air-conditioned barn and feed him good.
That's right.
But he's still a jackass, and the NFL is made up of thoroughbreds.
No, you're right.
That's old school guy here now. We got two old school guys talking here now.
I know. I love all that. All right, so let's just say your team or your receivers are dropping too many balls. I'm not saying that's happening here in Jacksonville. It is a little bit, but what do you say to them? Like, what do you work on? Is it the jug machine? Is it really focusing on that point? I always heard the receivers, you got that spin, and then there's a point of the ball. If you focus on that, you got a good chance. What do you tell them, Coach?
Well, there's a lot of things going on too to get to the point of catching the ball. You know, you got to beat most of the people in the NFL that are good players are going to get some kind of press.
Yeah.
And then you got to fight through that to get up the field. I always taught 3 things. Number 1, you got to be really good at getting off the press.
Yep.
In order to, the quarterback's only got a certain amount of time. And
right.
you got to get to where you got to be.
That's right.
Number 2, you got to have vertical acceleration. Number 3, you got to develop the route. And in teaching, and I used to kind of blow people's minds on this when I was coaching all those years. I never spent a lot of time throwing the ball to them. I spent a lot of time on the footwork. As he'll tell you, as a defensive back coach, it's like a ballet with the footwork, and it's the same with the receiver. The better your footwork, the more time you have to concentrate on catching the ball.
Right.
The more sloppy your footwork, the harder it is to catch it.
Right. The longer it takes you to get to where the ball's going to be.
If you take too long, you won't get the ball because the quarterback will be looking up at the sky.
It's even easier. You see it coming from a farther distance, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. What about, so we saw the debacle last week, the Jags. I mean, it happens. Every team, for some reason, gets their can whooped. But we saw from the get-go that San Fran came out fighting. And they punch us in the mouth, Coach. Philly did it to us last year. We did not respond with a physicalness back at them. How do you get that back? I mean, Tennessee's coming. They're physical. How do you get it back? What are you saying to your team, and what are you doing during a week to get them ready?
Well, first of all, it's a mindset, and you can't make chicken salad out of chicken poo. They've got to, somewhere along the line, the players have to, go out with the idea that I'm going to whip this guy in front of me in football, no matter what you say. they talk about this being a passing time now.
Yeah.
It still comes down to blocking and tackling.
Thank you.
Correct.
That's how the game is won. If you win up front, you're going to win the game the majority of the time.
Yeah.
So, you really got to impress on those guys. Hey, we got to come out here, and your job is to beat that guy in front of you.
Yep.
That's number 1. Everything else, you got to run to the football, you got to do all these other things. But in reality, you have to whip the guy in front of you. And that's got to be the emphasis going into this game, because I guarantee you, the Titans are not going to lay down.
No, they're coming.
And they're going to come in
they
here.
They always do.
They don't like us.
Yep.
Those are mayo eaters.
Oh, yeah.
They don't like us.
I like mayonnaise. Good.
I do too, but I don't like those mayo eaters. But they're going to come in with the idea that we're going to wait for these guys to make a mistake. We're going to hit them in the mouth, just like San Francisco did, and we have to rally to that for sure.
Real quick as we wrap up, what's your take on Calvin Ridley so far, and what are you expecting out of him the remainder of the year?
I think he got off to a real good start, and then he kind of, which happens a lot of times, sitting out for the amount of time he sat out, it's not an easy thing. You can do all the stuff to train and get ready for it, but when you get in the ring, it ain't the same as training
no doubt.
For the fight.
You're right about that.
So I think when he got in the ring, and week to week, people started to play him tougher and different, and I think he had to he's in a point where he's kind of developing his game, which he never, I think he'll get better as he goes along.
Yeah.
But I just think it's hard to sit out a couple of years and then come back in and think you're going to be where you were.
Yeah.
I've seen it too many. I've seen it with great running backs who hurt their knee. They go through the rehab, they come back in, and all of a sudden you'll hear people say, "Hey, we lost a little bit." Well, it takes time to get back.
Yeah, I went through that twice.
Confidence.
Absolutely. Great to have you on the show.
Thank
we
you.
got the Jags winning this week. What's up? Yes, going to beat the Titans?
Well, I said they were going to win last week, so I don't know if you want to take it from me, but I feel good about us. This team has rallied before
They need to rally, though. It's a big
adversity,
one.
so that's going to be the key.
Yeah,
do you think, Coach?
I think this week their mindset's a little. They had 2 weeks to celebrate winning 5 in a row.
Right.
Now they got
Party's over.
Now they got 1 week to to get it back, and I think they'll do a good job. I think they'll come out with a little fiercer set of
mentality.
what they want to do.
Awesome to have you.
My
Great
pleasure.
to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Tom.
Coach, always a pleasure.
Always a
my
pleasure.
man.
Absolutely.
Man, loving the coaches are here. We talking ball. We'll talk ball all day long right here on The Horse's Mouth. Make sure you go to iwantabuzz.com. You see their profiles. You see this conversation and many, many others. So until next time, y'all stay safe out there and be cool. And we'll see you right here on The Horse's Mouth. Cheers.
The team at Heritage Capital Group is special because it's a collection of people across the spectrum.
We have people who have been in the shoes of owners that are looking to buy and sell, and professionals that have executed transactions helping buy and sell companies for decades.
I think when you talk to us, see what our experience is, see what our skills are, see the reach that we have, you'll be very happy with the recommendation.